Okay, geeks, let's talk about haters and specifically how I was a hater and how it's really affected me as a YouTube content creator. So let's go ahead and get into this. Welcome to another episode of geekoutdoors.com. On this channel, you'll learn how to be creative and I'll teach you the tools you need to create. So be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to help the channel create more content like this. And so my hater life practically started when I was in high school. Now, at this point, I think a lot of people can relate with this because you're young, you're learning a lot of things, you're going through a lot of things. And at least for me, my hater life started whenever I started basically getting jealous of guys who had girls and I didn't, people who were more popular than me, people who were smarter than me, and just basically people who were getting recognized or getting attention for something. Whereas, at least for me, I'm just the guy who basically disappeared. I wasn't a popular person. I wasn't the smartest person, that's for sure. I definitely wasn't popular with the girls. And I wasn't known for anything, and I definitely was not known as a creative person. And so that's really where the seeds of my hater life began. And then when I got into college, it was basically just high school 2.0. But in this case, a lot of us who are in college or in university, we're trying to explore our adult life or where we're heading. And so in this case, those same things still applied. I wasn't popular. I wasn't getting the girls. My grades were not great. As a matter of fact, I was more of a B to actually C student. I was probably more of a C student. So I really don't know how I even got my degrees through college. And then the final part of my hater life was when I got into the real world, being an adult. So in this case, those same things were still there. But now we have the whole hater life of how much money you make. So I was hating on people who were making more money than me. I was hating on people who were driving nicer cars, having bigger houses. So it's kind of like a continuation of everything. But now, instead of being a person who got lost in high school, I was an adult getting lost in the real world. And that just fueled my whole hater life. And I was hating on a lot of things. And even to the point where, I was hating on other people anonymously on the internet. And even though I'm not proud of that, it is something that I did. And even if I didn't comment on their videos or their websites, I would be thinking about those things. And it was something that really affected me deeply because throughout this whole time of being a hater, from practically high school through college all the way to adult life, the one thing that was consistent was me. Okay, that was the consistent thing throughout. And another thing that was consistent was the fact that I didn't really have any major successes in anything that I was hating on. And so that's one thing that I've noticed with haters and trolls is that the majority of the times they themselves are not successful in the things that they're hating on. And so for everything that I was hating on, I was either way below average or just mildly successful at some points, but consistently I was always below average and not successful at all. And that's the one common thing that I've noticed with haters and trolls on YouTube and practically everywhere else on the internet. So if you look at these haters and trolls, you'll notice that they probably aren't creators. And if they did create a YouTube channel or whatnot, there's not much content on there. And at the same time, they're not successful. Okay, and whatever success means to you. So just think about it this way. If you can relate with me where you are a hater, think of how successful you are in the things that you're hating on. And more than likely, you are not successful in those areas or you're way below average. And the worst part of it is you are not in a good, positive mood because all this hating is, in the end, is really related to self-esteem and confidence issues. That's what a lot of psychologists say, and I would agree with that. But I would say one thing that is very important here with the whole hater mentality is this idea of responsibility. That's the one key thing that I learned out of this, throughout all of this, is level of responsibility, self-responsibility. Because when I was a hater, I didn't feel responsible for my actions and my thoughts. And I didn't take responsibility in improving myself to get better at those things that I was hating on. And that's really the one thing that held me back in a lot of areas.
For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below.
And whenever I made that leap over to being a YouTube content creator, well, that's when I started to get haters and trolls. And this was a really shocking thing for me because I've always been on the other side. I was the one hating before, being anonymous, being this keyboard warrior who didn't have to take responsibilities for any of their actions. But now that I am a creator on the other side, I understand and I could feel the pain of all these other creators that people like myself were hating on. And one of the biggest things that I learned out of this was the fact that whenever you are a creator, your level of responsibility grows even more. And so now you're going to have to take a lot more ownership of the things that you create, of the things that you do. And whenever you start building a community, you are now responsible for taking care of your community. And this is probably the best thing that I learned out of being a hater and then a creator, because I understand both sides. And I will say one thing for sure: if you're going to stay on the hater and troll side, you're not going to help anybody. You're not going to help yourself, and you're definitely not going to help the creators who are trying to do something better for the world. And so, as cliche as that sounds, don't be a hater. Instead, be a creator. And so those are my thoughts on my whole hater life up to being a YouTube content creator. So if this is something that you can relate with, or you had any other thoughts in this, leave me some comments below. And if you did want to see more of my YouTube tutorials and tips, I do have an entire playlist as well for all those creators out there, and I'll leave that in the description area as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a creative geek like me and you want to get exclusive access to more content that I don't put out here publicly on my YouTube channel, then join my Gold Content Creators group, where you're going to get content like this and more for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators group.